And I said, sir, can you find you in the text? And then I realized what was going on. Because you see, the text says Jesus had left the building. He'd gone up to a mountain alone and put them in a boat and said, go to the other side. But don't think just because some hell times are coming that you necessarily did something wrong. Jesus put them on that boat and Jesus told them to go to the other side, and that's how they found themselves in all that mess. All right. Preacher, are you telling me Jesus is going to put me in some mess? I sure am. Because it is not until we can deal with our little mess can we learn to depend on God to handle our big mess. So the first lesson we've got to learn is that we've got to learn to let God's voice decide our values. Let God's voice decide your values. Don't sit around making judgments of what's good and what's bad on your own, because you don't know. I could just do a particular viewpoint of someone and change the entire value system of what you think about somebody. If you were meeting a stranger and I said to you, you better watch out for brother so-and-so. He is one of the biggest con artists that I have ever seen. And he came in and said, I heard you had some trouble with your car. Can I give you a lift? It won't cost you anything. And I could see your little mind working, going, Samson done warned me about you. Brother, that's okay. I'll figure out something else. And yet I could have come up to you saying, you know what? Brother so-and-so is the salt of the earth. That man is one of the most wonderful, giving, generous souls I've ever seen. If God ever put a servant on this earth to tell people what Jesus is through action, it's that brother. And he came up and said, I heard your car is messed up, and I'm here to give you a ride. If you like, no cost. Let me see what I can do to help you. Well, thank you, brother. Same man, same invitation. The only difference is the thoughts in your head. The text said while they were in trouble, they saw Jesus coming to rescue them. But in their thoughts, it was a ghost. And when they saw the ghost, they pulled back and they were afraid. Now, I saw me in the text just then because I realized that they were in a boat that was their only foundation. And the text says that the wind was blowing it boisterous, strongly, throwing it around. The text says that the waves were running around, pushing the boat hither and there, to and fro, and they had no control of the environment. The foundation that would hold them, they couldn't control. The wind that would carry them had become their enemy. The place that was their safety could be their coffin in the sea. And I thought, Lord, how many times have I been there? There was a young girl who was going to take a new class. I shared this story once, I think, in the 8 o'clock service. I've never shared it with you all. Even if you heard it, it's worth repeating. It's a good one. It's one of those situations because I saw me in the situation. This young girl was in class, and her teacher presented the class with some new stuff. Not just the old crayons in the paper, but they got those new whiteboards that looked all shiny and pretty. They had these new crayons that had deep colors and liquid flowing out of the end. And they could make colors and draw them together and blend them like they'd never had before. And the teacher was going around the room giving instructions saying, I want you to draw me a beautiful garden. And the children began to do the garden. One by one, they'd raise their hands. She'd go over and ask. They'd whisper something in their ear, and she'd bend down and tell them something. They'd smile. They'd do something different. But this one young lady knew, I've got this covered. I know I can draw. I don't know about the rest of these little clowns up in this class, but I know what I am doing. And the more she did it, the more beautiful it became. And the more beautiful it became, the more stuff she put in it. And the more stuff she put in it, the better she thought it looked. And the better she thought it looked, the more she put in it. Until finally she realized this is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. All along, the teacher kept going by saying, can I help you? No, I'm fine. Get can I help you? No, about the fourth time the teacher quit coming around. She just helped everybody else. And now the girl's got her hand just waving, wondering, why don't you answer me when I'm trying to get your attention? She said, baby girl, I've been here your time throughout this class. You're the one that wouldn't listen to me. And she said, but look at my painting. Look how messed up it is. Fix it. The teacher said, do what? And she said, fix it. She said, baby, the reason you were here is for me to give you some guidance, to teach you how not to mess it up the way it is right now. But you chose not to listen. You chose not to obey. You wouldn't even ask me my opinion. When I tried to give it, you hushed me up. And now it's so messed up. There's nothing I can do to help that. The scriptures called my name. Because I could imagine the people on that boat doing everything that time had prepared them to do. They were in a situation. I am a fisherman. I know how to handle it. I saw the weather. I know what to do. I built boats better than this. I know I can handle them. I have a history. I have the knowledge. I have the know-how. And there I am in the situation going, I've been here. But no, matter of fact, this is a new situation. And I don't know how to handle it. Have you ever been in that kind of situation where you thought this is something new, a new mess that I've created, a new opportunity that went wrong, a new man that I've met, a new woman that was never so gorgeous, a new job that didn't have this many possibilities, a new view, a new understanding, and then all of a sudden when everything went wrong, you realized ain't nothing new about this at all. I have been here 100 times before. Lord, how could you let me think I was in a new kind of storm, and here I am once again being tossed about like nobody's, no foundation to stand on, no wind to hold on to, and the very ship I'm holding on to is ready to collapse. And I pray to heaven, and I feel as if the Holy Spirit shakes his head and says, sorry, ain't nothing I can do. Quickly, let us move on. Then, preacher, if you're going to sit here and draw that kind of picture, what are you telling me to do? I'm telling you the next time you find yourself in a situation, next time, it's going to be this week. You're going to be this moment. Because sometimes before this week is over, mark my words, before this week is over, there's going to be situations touching one another in this room right now where you're going to think to yourself, I could have handled this back in the day. There was a time that I was in control. And that job, that child, that opportunity, something that you used to have control of is going to raise its little wicked head and lose all control and not know what to do with it. Thinking, I thought I could handle this. How did I get back in this situation? How did I let myself get back with a man that treats me like this? How can I believe in a woman that really doesn't love me anymore? How can I invest so much in a job and they don't care anything about me? How can I think the government would take care of me and they're the ones that foreclose? How can I be on this job for and it waved goodbye to me and I can still do my job? Beloved, sometimes this week, there's going to be something that you can handle. And all of a sudden, like Peter in a storm, you will find yourself having no control. And the painful part about it is when Jesus comes to help, we won't recognize his words, and therefore we will not understand his worth. I like that one. You all put that one down.